What is happening, Internet? Welcome back to the place where we scroll through the timeline of bad decisions so you don't have to live them. So, ladies and gentlemen, gather around because today's episode of Why Do People Make These Absolutely Horrific Life Decisions comes straight from the book of Bad Choices, chapter 9, verse 12. And in this unholy scripture of nonsense, we meet a woman, a single mom, who once believed her biggest problem was being unwanted by men. Little did she know her real problem was a man named Captain Certificates, a man who collected degrees like infinity stones. This man's email inbox was just like, "Congratulations on completing your certificate. You passed the exam. Here is your diploma. Please slow down, sir. You're melting our servers." And he used all of those certificates to do absolutely nothing. Sit tight. Grab popcorn. Maybe grab Tums for the heartburn you're about to feel, because this story has red flags, financial disasters, delusion, manipulation, and enough clownery to power a circus for 10 years. Let's dive in. Our main character is a 24-year-old single mom with a 7-year-old daughter. She's been through pain, heartbreak, and trauma so deep that she doesn't even like telling the story. She had her daughter at 17, and the story behind that birth? Yeah, that's trauma wrapped in regret, dipped in pain. She avoids it like expired milk. She spent years thinking men avoided her because she had a child. But oh no, the universe had a different idea. As if the universe said, "Let's spice things up." Because one day, a man entered her life. A man who carried his dreams so loudly you could hear them before he walked into a room. A man who believed destiny itself owed him a mansion, a Mercedes, and a $1 trillion net worth. A man whose entire personality was certificates. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Captain Certificates, master of degrees, destroyer of job markets, first of his name, king of unemployment, and archangel of empty wallets. You know the guy who uses words like equity, leverage, synergy, and paradigm shift, but he can't afford a paradigm sandwich. When she met him, she thought he was refreshing. Why? Because unlike every other guy who fled like she was holding a ticking bomb, Captain Certificates smiled at her daughter, played with her, talked to her gently, and actually stayed. This man walked around acting like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Aliko Dangote combined. But he only had the career success of a broken vending machine and the bank account of a student doing unpaid internship. The only thing he was CEO of was hope. Despite all that, he had one advantage. He loved her daughter, and her daughter loved him too. Listen to me, if you are a single parent, this is your kryptonite. The moment a guy shows up and starts playing super dad, your brain turns off. You stop seeing the red flags because you're so happy your kid isn't lonely. This is exactly what happened. One day, the little girl asked, "Mommy, is Uncle Captain going to be my daddy?" Boom! Emotional critical hit! Right in the soul. Next thing you know, she let him move into her house. Not because he was stable, not because he had a job, not because he was a responsible adult, but because he helped the kid with homework and was available. And look, no shade, but sometimes the bar is so low it's underground. But that's okay. People start small. People grow, right? Oh, sweet summer child.
In the beginning, Captain Certificates pretended to look for jobs. He woke up early, ironed his shirts, took his CV out like he was going to war. Then slowly, that CV became a coaster for his drinks. This man went from motivated job seeker to full-time couch decoration. One day she said, "Babe, you're smart. Why don't you start something on your own?" Captain Certificates looked at her with confidence, lifted his chin like a wannabe CEO, and said, "All I need is capital. About $7,000 should do." Now, Any man asking for capital is suspicious. But a man who hasn't even started anything asking for 7K? Sir, are you building a business or starting a space program? But she loved him. She wanted to help. She wanted them to grow together. So she went to work and took a loan. Not a little one.
Not a humble one, a $8,000 loan to fund Captain Certificate's business. She handed him the money, and my man turned into a fashion influencer. Instead of building a business, Captain Certificates built a wardrobe. New clothes, new sneakers, new belts, new perfumes. My guy smelled like success, but lived like failure. She asked, "Where is the business?" He answered, "I'm registering it." For 3 months. Bro, what business requires 3 months to register? NASA? British Parliament? The Vatican? He said, "A business like mine must stand on legal legs before it can walk." "Okay, Mr. Legal Legs, when will it run?" A whole year passed. Captain Certificates remained unemployed. Unemployed with confidence, unemployed with passion, unemployed with ego. And she? She worked. She paid the rent. She paid the loan. She fed him. She clothed him. She paid utilities. This man was basically a dependent with mood swings. Every fight ended with, "I will leave this house. Then you'll see how nobody wants a single mother." Sir, you live in her house for free. You eat her food for free. You drink her electricity for free. Your entire existence is sponsored by the Single Mother Foundation. Talking about nobody wants her. Bro, if she didn't want you, you'd be homeless right now. But she fell for the manipulation every time because loneliness is a powerful enemy.
He started texting her during work hours. "There's no drink in the fridge, buy some. My shaving stick is finished. The electricity is out, send money. We need cereal, buy pizza on your way home. I need money to go out." Ladies and gentlemen, this man was basically a subscription service, except worse because at least Netflix provides entertainment. Meanwhile, she could barely pay her daughter's school fees. This clown was draining her wallet like a mosquito on steroids.
One night, he came home drunk, smelling like he bathed in expired whiskey and disappointment. She served him food. He showered. He slept. Then at dawn, he climbed on top of her like a malfunctioning robot vacuum trying to find its charging port. She pushed him off. His response? "Single mother with attitude. When I'm gone." She said, "When you're gone? Say less. You're leaving tomorrow." My guy froze like Windows XP. He yelled, "I will leave and tell your parents you caused it." Sir, you have been a full-time liability for a year. What exactly is she losing? Next morning, she didn't go to work. She waited for her daughter to leave for school. Then she started packing. This man thought he was joking. She packed everything in 3 minutes. Clothes, shoes, belts, a perfect speed run of eviction. He said, "Are you serious?" She said, "Do I look like I'm joking?" She told him, "I'm locking my house and I don't want you inside. Out." Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Certificates was officially unemployed and homeless. He left. He disappeared. And guess who's begging now? Not the single mom. Oh no. Captain Certificates, the man of dreams, goals, degrees, ambitions, is now texting, "Please can we talk? I miss you." He didn't miss her. He missed free rent, free food, free electricity, free everything. Because without her, my man was a bag of certificates with no charger. This woman learned something powerful. Sometimes, being alone is better than being with a grown man who acts like an unpaid intern in his own life. Captain Certificates learned you can't build a business with vibes, arrogance, and 2 pairs of new sneakers. Her daughter learned a real father steps up, not steps in for free rent. And we, the audience, learned to never trust a man whose only assets are certificates and audacity. In the end, she rose, she healed, she took care of her daughter, herself. And Captain Certificates? Somewhere out there, probably telling another woman, all I need is $10,000 to start my billion-dollar company. And that, my friends, is the story of how one woman learned that generosity is beautiful, but not when you're dating someone who treats your wallet like a vending machine.